Turning, looking,
On a night where the Yankees honor Derek Jeter, the newest Yankee Hall of Famer, the Yankees will welcome Wander Franco and the Tampa Bay Rays to town as they look to stay afloat atop the American League East. My recap, your reactions coming up next. This is Yankees Game Night.
It's just a reaction.
Goodness gracious! This is Yankees Game Night.
Tonight's game is brought to you by Manscaped, the world leader in male grooming products. Visit manscaped.com and use the code NYY Recaps at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. They've got everything from razors to body sprays to boxer shorts, and it's all great, and I vouch for them 100%. Visit manscaped.com, use the code NYY Recaps, 20% off and free shipping.
Postgame show is brought to you by Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for spending your Friday night with me. It was a Derek Jeter celebration tonight in the Bronx, but it definitely ended up as an Aaron Hicks roast. Also, the highlight of the Jeter ceremony, to me, was that Yankees fans relentlessly and savagely booed Yankees owner Hal Steinbrenner as he was donating $250,000 to a bunch of poor kids to keep them off of drugs. Never seen anything like it. Donating a cardboard check, big check, $250,000, and getting booed off the field. I love New York, and I love New Yorkers. Jeter said that he hopes to be seeing a lot more of Yankees fans in the near future. I was hoping that they would announce him as the new GM right there on the field, but no such luck. This was a huge series. This is a huge series with major division and playoff implications. And before the game, the Yankees lost yet another regular to the paternity list. That's Jose Trevino. With that, the Yankees called up Ben Rortvedt, who was acquired. He was the forgotten piece of the IKF and Josh Donaldson deal. Left-handed hitting catcher, good defensively, strong as an ox. Didn't appear in tonight's game, but you'll probably see him tomorrow with the day game after the night game. Rough night in the Bronx. The offense was, once again, pitiful. Frankie Montas, not great. Giancarlo Stanton was healthy enough to face exactly one pitch. And Aaron Hicks. Aaron Hicks. What do we even say? One of the most embarrassing nights of baseball I've ever seen from an individual player. Let's get the recap done, and then we'll roast Aaron Hicks, and then we'll all go to bed. How's that sound? Rays got to Montas early, surprise, surprise. 3 pitches into the game, there were already 2 hits, and the Rays led 1-0. Bottom 3, the Yankees put 2 men on base, but Mr. 30-30 himself struck out in a feeble at bat, looking down the right field line when the ball's in the catcher's glove. Unreal. Boo Birds were out in full force. But little did he know,
from there on out, things just got worse.
Next inning, Aaron Hicks was trying to catch a ball down the line. It was in fair territory, bounced out of his glove. He thought it was foul, took his head out of the play, stood there, and felt sorry for himself for a minute while a runner came around to score. I mean, he sat there for what looks like 2.5 minutes. It's an eternity. And the camera's not showing the base runner, so we don't really know, but you can see the fans freaking out. saying, get the ball. Next batter hit a very catchable ball to left field, and Hicks took a route that can be best described as a pirouette. Before you knew it, it was 4-0 Rays. Unbelievably bad defense.
We spend $250 billion a year on defense.
And the crowd was absolutely killing him. The crowd was all over him. They were chanting, "You're an a-hole." They were chanting, "Joey Gallo." You've got to be a special kind of terrible to make fans want Joey Gallo back. I think I'd rather have an ulcer than have Joey Gallo. But I'm not sure that I would rather have Aaron Hicks. Oh, my goodness. Aaron Boone ended up taking him out of the game, replaced him with Estevan Florial. Boone didn't look happy. Hard to imagine a worse 5-minute stretch for a player. Strikes out to end the inning. 2 comically bad boner of the week candidates in left field. And then he got booed off the diamond, out of the ballpark, and removed from the game. I haven't seen anything that bad since Chuck Knobloch hit Keith Olbermann's mom with a throw in the 4th row on a routine grounder. He almost retired from baseball in the middle of the inning. I swear to God. Look, if I were Aaron Hicks, I would just start working on my LIV golf tour card. Baseball's not for everybody. Frankie Montas was done after getting 2 outs in the 6th inning. Not a great start, but would have been better if Aaron Hicks wasn't playing baseball for the first time ever. Final line, 5 2/3 innings, 9 hits, 4 walks, 4 runs, 4 strikeouts. Not what you want. Yankees put 2 men on in the bottom of the 6th, and Giancarlo, pinch hit for Oswaldo Cabrera, immediately grounded out to end the inning. Bottom 7, Aaron Judge finally put the Yankees on the board with an RBI single. It's going to get lost in the shuffle, lost in the Aaron Hicks roast, but great slide by Oswald Peraza to avoid the tag. Had to go to a replay to get overturned, but ultimately he was safe. Ryan Weber did a nice job in relief. I'd give him more innings. He gets a ton of movement, and he throws strikes. That's all you need. Bottom 9, Kyle Higashioka went yard, his 8th home run of the season. Yankees ended up sending the tying run to the plate in the person of Gleyber Torres, but he came up just short with a fly ball to the warning track.
Oh, there goes gravity.
Rays hang on to win 4-2. We are taking on water, and baby, there are not enough lifeboats. Miguel Castro says that Hicks is rattled. I would be too. Matt Sheridan says, has Hicks looked into a career in vending? Douglas Rowell says, looking at his batting average, are we sure Hicks doesn't think that this game is golf? Trying to get the lowest score possible. Epic Warrior stating the obvious says, Hicks cost us. I mean, you know, little Bronx cheer for him. Peter D. Rosso says, Montas freaking sucks. Yeah, we've known that for a while. Sam Chrisley says, I feel so bad for him just as a man. I don't. Dude's getting paid $70 million. The least you can do is stay interested in the ballgame. I don't feel bad for anybody who is a professional athlete and can't put in the effort on both sides of the ball mentally to stay in the game. Parks and Young says Montas is a joke.
I wholeheartedly agree.
That trade, I mean, how bad was Brian Cashman's deadline? That's got to be one of the worst deadlines in the history of Major League Baseball for a general manager. Not only do you get Frankie Montas for essentially your entire pitching depth stable, but they all turn out to be great, and the pitcher you got sucks. Something just fell over. It's all falling apart, man. And then you trade Jordan Montgomery for a dude in a walking boot. It is now 5 weeks later to the day, and he still hasn't even begun rehabbing. He won't begin rehabbing for another couple of days. Meanwhile, Jordan Montgomery's 5-0. I mean, if this isn't an all-time worst trade deadline, I don't know what is. I do not know what is. Frankie, too soon, says, rather have Queen Elizabeth now than Aaron Hicks. They'd probably hit for about the same batting average. Jules Dajula says, Hicks doesn't deserve to be in the majors. Please just accept the fact that you're not cut out for it and move on with your life. That's what I'm saying. He's still a young man. Edward says, Hicks should not play. Problem is, everybody else has been hurt. Isn't it ironic that the guy who we all expected to get hurt, Aaron Hicks, because he always gets hurt, has stayed healthy? And we always say if he just stays healthy and plays, he's a valuable player. This year, his value has plummeted, baby. It can't get any lower. Sam says Hicks is having one of the absolute worst seasons I can recall. For a guy who continues to get reps, yeah. I've seen some bad seasons. David Cone was 4-14 in 2000 with an ERA, I want to say, over 6. That was a bad year. Phil Hughes had one of those years, his last year with the Yankees. I don't recall his record, but it was terrible. We've seen some bad years. But a lot of times you'll deal with it from a pitcher because they'll just take the ball and eat up innings. But for a position player to keep playing and keep getting reps when they're this bad, tough. D. Knight says, please, Hal, fire Cashman. Brandon with the Super Dono, appreciate that, says, Hicks wasn't even credited with a single error. That's what's ironic about it. Both of those balls should have been caught. He says that even Bader in a walking boot would have been better. Speaking of Hader, he's been awful since going to the Padres. Also, I checked in on Juan Soto just a little while ago. He's hitting about 230, but the on-base percentage is about 400, so he's doing his thing. Aaron Judge says, should play Little League, and he would be bad at it. Talking about Aaron Hicks. Appreciate the dono. Frank says, Hicks needs to take a hike. It sounds like we have a consensus tonight. The fans are united. When was the last time you got 726 people to agree on anything? 730 now. When was the last time? Rob John says, wasted 4 prospects for Montas. Absolutely horrible.
Oh my gosh. Does that suck?
Twig says, Boone's got to be pissed. Tabletops beware. And Osuji Melville, so Stanton is the biggest crook of all. My brother sent me a text tonight. He's frustrated by Giancarlo Stanton because, this guy misses a lot of time for a guy who makes a lot of money. Foul a ball off your foot and miss a few weeks, or a few days. Look, we all, as Derek Jeter said, we boo because we want to cheer. We want these guys to do better. And that was a really astute comment by Jeter. And SD36 says, it's time for GM Jeter. Love it. USMC Vet says that 15-game lead seems a lot smaller because it is. It's down to 2 games in the loss column. 3.5 in the division at large. Not good. It is not what you want. Douglas Rao says, it's not going well when you're counting on Josh Donaldson to come back and help with their offense. Have you seen his at-bats this season? They've been horrendous. They've been terrible. The dude doesn't know how to take the ball to right field anymore. He has success with it for a couple of days, and then he gets back into pull mode trying to pull off on everything and hit it 9 miles. That's not his game. If he would just stick to hitting the ball to right field, just like Gleyber Torres, I don't know why these guys don't get it. Watch your highlight reel. 80% of your best hits are the other way. When you have just a little bit more time to wait on the ball by letting it travel deeper into the zone, you have a bit more time to recognize whether it's a strike or a ball. And you can still barrel it up. Just swing a little bit later. When you're a little kid and you're swinging late and your coach says, hey, you're swinging late, but you're hitting everything to the opposite field. If you're hitting it hard, your coach might say, swing earlier. But really what you're doing is good. You're letting the ball travel. You're getting yourself more time and you're picking up hits. I don't know why these guys are so against doing it, especially at Yankee Stadium where we got the short right field porch. I mean, that walk-off grand slam wasn't a good memory. You don't want more of that? I just can't stand watching the guy hit. Sorry for the mini rant there. Colin Brown says, how many Aarons in the dugout next year? What a great question that is. Because right now we got 3. We've got Aaron Boone, we've got Aaron Judge, and we've got Aaron Hicks. I think there's a good chance that we're going to still have Aaron Boone as the manager. He's just signed a 3-year contract. I can't see the Yankees replacing him. I think if the Yankees replace anybody, it's going to be Brian Cashman. Aaron Judge, I mean, that's going to be the number 1 priority for a lot of teams, though, this winter. You can't tell me that San Diego, or who goes out and gets everybody, isn't going to go out and bid on Judge, or that the Dodgers don't want to drive up the Yankees price tag anyway. I mean, the Mets could get in on it. It's giving me anxiety to think about. I really think that Aaron Judge is probably going to leave. And Aaron Hicks, honestly, like tonight was DFA bad. Tonight was retire from the sport in the middle of the season bad. Tonight was move to the Caribbean and start selling timeshares bad. Tonight was question your existence bad. He's got to be staring in the mirror thinking, did I choose the right path picking up a baseball glove? Should I have just stuck with golf? Is my entire existence a lie? Dr. Hitskin says, Hicks, get your head out of your ass. Couldn't have said it better myself. D. Knight says he'd rather slide down a 1,000-foot razor blade into a pool of alcohol than watch Hicks in one more game. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So we're getting a lot of comparisons. Montas to Sonny Gray. There's another gem by Brian Cashman. And Sonny Gray shutting us down yesterday was no fun. Anyway. Demetrius says Donaldson needs to change. He's too stubborn. 100% agree. Miguel says, Hicks, it's time for retirement. Can't argue with that. And Marco Moscaria says Jeter and Epstein for the Yankees front office. I would love to see Theo Epstein as a part of it. I think Jeter would be great from the player evaluation perspective. And, you know, game recognizes game, right? He can tell who the good character guys are. You know, look at the players he didn't get along with during his Yankee tenure. Chad Curtis ended up being a scumbag. You know, I think Jeter is going to make a concerted effort to be a part of the Yankees' plans going forward in the front office. Brian Cashman doesn't want to do this for everyone forever, and he can't do it forever. He's proven that he can't build a championship anymore. The only championship he's put together is when you went out and signed all the obvious big free agents back in 2009. The early championships he got, those all came from Gene Michael. Everybody knows that. I just don't know how you can stick with this guy for a quarter of a century just because he's, you know, a friend of the family. It's time to move on. I would love to see Jeter get the shot. I think he's got the winning mentality. Carlos Portillo says he's had enough of Torres. Just get rid of him. I think the Torres could be gone after the season. I really do. Although he nearly went deep to tie up the game. Troy Muka says Judge isn't going to sign. Why would he? I'm sure that he's just going to go for the biggest check. I mean, that's pretty much what athletes do these days. Lori C. with an excellent question says, why can Stanton PH, that's pinch hit, but not DH? That's a great question. They probably don't want him running the bases. I'd imagine it's still sort of run. And so they're just giving him, one swing. Maybe he goes deep. And then if he had gotten on base, they would have just taken him out. Pinch run for him. That's my guess. All right. A couple more. AJ says, anybody ever think about getting Hicks some steroids? Maybe all those pop-ups will turn into homers. I'm wondering if it would be worth it, because then if he gets suspended, at least you don't have to have him on the roster. Total embarrassment. TC Steals. Saying what we're all thinking. This is really turning into an excellent roast of Aaron Hicks. William M. says, this roster is not a World Series roster, and I 100% agree. You got to do better for 250 some odd million, whatever this is. I mean, you just have to do better. Brett Deutsch says, problem is we don't sign free agents anymore. We have to try and be so damn smart, and we aren't. And that's an excellent point. Brian Cashman tries to outsmart the room, overthink the room, and sometimes he gets it. Look, we have to give credit where credit's due. Clay Holmes was a nice pickup. Jonathan Loizaga was a nice pickup. But when you're talking about everyday players, there are moves that are obvious and layups. You got Bryce Harper, since he's 16 years old, saying that his dream is to play for the Yankees. One of the most dangerous left-handed bats in the game. And he was 25, 26 years old. And the Yankees' gripe was that he doesn't play great defense. Really? But you're okay running Clint Frazier out there for a year? You're okay running Aaron Hicks out there ever again? Look at this. Horrible. I mean, Harper was the move. To me, not signing Harper was a fireable offense. And it would not be beyond the realm of possibility for Cashman to try and trade for a Harper now that it's a couple of years too late. You could have had this guy for a few years already. He waits too long. He hangs on to his prospects until they lose value, and he doesn't make the obvious moves. Everybody said we should have got Machado or Harper. One of those two, if not both, should have been Yankees. Can you imagine this year? Can you imagine? And Harper probably wouldn't have broken his hand this year if he was on the Yankees. Completely different universe. Imagine you had Harper, Machado, and Judge in the lineup this year. Imagine. You'd be up by 15 games still. 100%. Wayne Wilcox says, let's just tank and then clean house. I think we may clean house. It could happen. All right, guys, we're going to call it a night. This was a really tough one. We play again tomorrow. It's Corey Kluber on the mound versus Jamison Tyone. And then in the evening, if it doesn't rain, I've got really good tickets to go see the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders play, and I was going to get a good look at Anthony Volpe, but he was out of the lineup tonight, so maybe he got promoted, and we just haven't heard about it yet. But thanks to everybody who chimed in on such a tough night, and one more time for Aaron Hicks. That's just a little boo. I'll see you guys when I see you.